Hello, children. Hope you all are fine, studying, playing, and doing some creative work also. This is Hema Swamy from Mount Carmel School. Today, I'm going to share you the video of English Literature, lesson number 3, Anansi and Five. Before I explain you the chapter, all of you open your book and listen to it carefully. Lesson number 3, Anansi and Five. Once upon a time, long ago, there lived a creature called Anansi. Sometimes Anansi was a spider, sometimes he was a man, and other times he was a strange mix of the two. Anansi was a trickster. He was very mischievous, and he was having a difficult time. Now he is having a very difficult time. He had no money to buy food for his family. As he walked around the village early one morning, he had a scowl on his face. He is having a bad expression on his face, and a growl in his stomach, and a sound in his stomach. Passing by a neighbor's house, Anansi heard something that pleased him. While passing through that area, he heard something that pleased him. The neighbor was an old witch. Who was that? He was the old witch. She was an angry and unpleasant witch who became furious when anyone said her name. She get angry when anybody called her name. She hated her name. Why? Because she hated her name. All through her life, people had laughed or looked surprised when they heard what her name was. Can you guess what her name was? Yes, it was Five. Anansi peeked through the gap in the witch fence. Anansi just looked. Anansi looked through a gap in the witch fence. She was stirring her big cooking pot and muttering and mumbling a spell. While cooking, she was speaking something. The smoke and sparks were blue and green, so Anansi knew she was cooking up some big magic. While she was cooking, the smoke was with the color of blue and green. Anansi come to know that she's cooking something magic. Suddenly, she snatched up her stuff and started to pound it on the ground as she walked around the pot. While she was walking around the pot, she found something on the ground. Anansi listened carefully to what she said. Now, Anansi is looking to it what she is saying. Now she's saying, I curse anyone who says the word five, to, to disappear forever. Those who will say five will disappear at once. Anansi rubbed his hands together and jumped around on his 8 hairy legs. Now after hearing this, he jumped on around and becoming happy. Ah, this, this could make me some money or get some food on the table for my family. He smiled widely and his sharp teeth sparkled. Anansi rushed to the path that ran along the river bank between the village and the marketplace. Now, after hearing to this, he ran towards the marketplace. And now he wanted to make a plan for that, how he can take the money and the food from other people. Soon everyone who was going to the market would walk past. They would be on their way to buy the delicious yams, beets, pulses, and grains that would be piled high in the market. Now, what did he plan? He just make a mound and is showing that he is selling the beets, pulses, grains, and all. Ansi set to work and piled up 5 mounds of earth near the path. They looked just like that. He had planted 5 yams. Now he is just showing that he had planted 5 yams so that anybody will come and just just look for that. Then he sat down and waited. Now he sat down over there, that path, and waited for the people, those who will pass through that row. First to come by was little Mrs. Rabbit. The first one is Mrs. Rabbit. She carried a basket full of sweet potato pieces and walked slowly because it was heavy. Now the bag was it was full of sweet potato, and so it became very heavy. So Mrs. Rabbit was walking very slowly. And Nancy stepped forward and smiled. Now after looking to that he smiled. That looks like a big weight. Please rest a while and help me. I don't know how to count, so I cannot tell how many yams I have planted. Now Anansi started playing the tricks. He asked to Mrs. Rabbit that please count for me. Mrs. Rabbit was kind, so she stopped. She put down her basket and hopped along the row, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as he said 5, she was disappeared. And she gobbled down the whole basket of sweet potato in a second. Within a second, Anansi ate up all. He licked his lips and sat down again to wait. Now, after eating all, he sat down again over that place to wait for the another person. Not long after, he heard little footsteps on the path and looked up. Now, after this, he just heard the little footsteps. It was Mr. Duck. He walked along with his chest held high and his feet made a slip-slap sound on the path. He had a bag with his lunch in it by his side. Now he is holding a lunch box. Mr. Duck stopped when he saw Anansi and asked him how he was. Now Mr. Duck stopped over there and asked to Anansi that how he was. Anansi put on a gum expression. Now he is showing very sad expression. Mr. Duck, I have no idea how to count my yam plants. Now he is saying very sadly. Can you help me, please? Mr. Duck wobbled his head and puffed out his chest even further. Well, Anansi, he said, it is a quite simple. Start with 1. Now he is explaining who Mr. Duck. It's very simple. 1, then it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mr. Duck disappeared instantly. After saying 5, Mr. Duck also disappeared from that place. Anansi ate up the lunch. Now he got chance to eat up all the whole lunch. Now I know you will be wondering about Anansi's family. Yes. Did he think about them? Did Anansi think about the family members? Did he save any food for them? No, he didn't. He ate everything without a thought about any of them. Okay, without thinking what he said that whatever he will get, he will just go and feed to their family members. But he didn't do anything. He ate up everything, whatever he is having. Next to come along on her way to the market to buy some tasty treats was Miss Frog. She did not stop and when Anansi called after her, hey, please help me count my plants. Now next is Mrs. Miss Frog, and she didn't stop. But Anansi called after, go and call her, that please count my plants. She laughed. Who? Miss Frog. Miss Frog laughed on him. No way, count them by yourself, she said. She called over her shoulder as she hopped away. And she moved from that place. It did not bother Anansi too much because he knew where there would be plenty more chances for him to try this trick out. Now he didn't bother about it that Mrs. Frog didn't count for him, because he know that many of the person will come over there and he will come to his trick. He imagined what delicious food he would find. Now he was imagining that what kind of food he is going to get to eat. He did not imagine taking any to his hungry children, and he did not imagine to take the food for his hungry children. He was going to eat as much as he could fit in his stomach and then come back and try the trick again on another day. He went back to home and then come again another day. A scudding sound pulled Anansi out of his daydream. It was Mrs. Shrew. On a tiny bag, she had a huge load of freshly made pies that she was hoping to sell. Now, next is who? That is Mrs. Shrew. She was taking a pies, hope to sell. The load was 3 times her size. The load was very heavy. Her face was red from the efforts she was making. It was so heavy, so her face became red. Oh, Lady Shrew, how nice to see you. Now again, Anansi start asking him to count the mounts. Sit a while and rest. I need your help to count my plants, and you can share my wisdom with me. Anansi grinned and showed all his sharp teeth. Now, Anansi grinned. He was very smiling, very badly. He was trying hard to be charming because he really wanted to eat all the pies. Now he was just showing his charmness just to want to eat the pies. Mrs. Shrew was not a fool. She could see Anansi's eyes glisten as he looked at the pies. Well, Anansi, you are kind. I'm tired. She put down her load. How can I help you? Now, even then, she just put down her load over there and she asked to Anansi, how can I help you? I can't count, he lied. Now, Anansi is lying and he's saying that I can't count. Can you count my yams mound for me? Mrs. Shrew smiled. Now she knew the intention of Anansi. She walked to the nearest mound and stood on it. The nearest, the one which is very nearest, means very near to him, near to her. She stood over there and she pointed to the mound that was furthest away from her and which is very far away from her. She started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one said clearly. She said clearly by herself. Anansi frowned. She was very upset. Who? This Anansi. Anansi was making facial expression, showing his facial expressions very badly. Do it again. Say all the number, he said. Now again she counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one that I'm sitting on, where she was sitting, who? Mrs. Shrew. She was saying, where I'm sitting on. Mrs. Shrew spoke slowly and clearly. She spoke slowly and clearly. A flush of anger passed over Anansi's face, which Anansi couldn't hear. So that's why he was getting angry. Why he's not saying loudly? Come on, say them properly. He was finding it difficult to keep a smile on his face. Now this time he was Mrs. Shrew was very finding difficult to keep a smile on. She was smiling, but very difficult for her to keep a smile on his face. Again, Mrs. Shrew smiled sweetly and counted slowly. Again, she smiled and counted slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one here, and this one here. She pointed to the mound beneath her feet. Agra, said Say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, shouted Anansi. Anansi by himself, he said that to count till 5. Instantly, in a big burst of sparks, he disappeared. Who? Anansi, because he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mrs. Shrew picked up her load and set off to the market. Now, she could sell these pies and buy mouth-watering delicious delicacies for her family. So, Anansi, by saying himself, he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and disappeared at once. So, the moral of this story is that greed will bring you in trouble. So, I hope all of you understood the chapter. Thank you. Just read the chapter carefully by yourself.